have a song for today
I don't have one either.
because it's sad times. And I don't have a song in my heart.
Oh, you know what I've
Um,
been listening to lately? Do you remember who Sampha is?
Sanfa, no.
He's that guy who like his voice is very like high. And let me see what his most popular song is. But I found a Hopecore mix
Oh,
on Spotify that I've been listening to. And he has a song called Indecision that I've been listening to on repeat, and the chorus is just "It'll all work out."
I need to
And
listen to
I was
that.
like, "Thank you, Sampha. I needed to hear
Y'all,
that."
this week it's been terrible. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Well, do you want to talk about politics? What if people voted for him and they listen to us?
oh, why are they listening? My
Get
question,
out.
my question would be to that because I was wondering, I was like, because I've seen some people on social media, they'll get comments like, I'm so disappointed or I'm unfollowing. Like I saw Sierra Miller from Summer House. She had went to the Democratic convention that was, I think, a week before or something like that.
Hmm.
And she posted about it. And there was these people commenting, like, I am so disappointed. I'm unfollowing. And she would respond, like, bye. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
To which I would say to anyone listening, if you are disappointed that we are upset that Trump is president, please let us know what made you think we were pro-Trump. Let us know. So first let us know so we can
Well,
self-reflect and see, like, okay, let's do some introspection. And then from there, unfollow us, please. What?
it is what it is.
It
I
is
mean,
what it is.
we've never brought up politics at all, but yeah, I feel like from just how we are and how we discuss different things, you might be able to tell that we're not with it.
We're
Um,
not hiding any MAGA caps in our tote bags.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, man. So Brandon moved in. This was supposed to be a
oh yes,
glorious week of celebration.
this
We're
was
neighbors. We're officially neighbors now.
we are, and it's been that part's been great. I
That
moved
part's
in.
been lovely.
Today's Thursday. I moved in this past Saturday. It's
Hmm.
been, I'd say, a roller coaster, just of adjustment and like moving and things like that.
Hmm.
But overall, net positive. I like having
Yeah.
my own space. It's still kind of weird. I don't know, just being
Yeah.
alone. Like not even like because I was living with my parents, but just being alone.
Yeah.
And like there's no one here. I don't got no one yet.
Yeah.
And it's just like what? But it's fun to have my own stuff. I feel like I got it like really put together. And
His apartment's really cute, y'all.
Maggie has visited me quite a few times
I
and I love it. I say
have.
visit me all the time.
I've been over like 3 or 4 times already.
Yes, the second time it was the election result.
Yes. So I was leading there. We were watching. So listen, I knew she was gonna lose. I knew she was gonna lose. Like after everything a while ago, it's funny because I was like questioning myself, like after the decision came out, like why are my feelings hurt? Because I had a feeling it was gonna happen. But then last week, seeing all of her last like campaign moves, the SNL thing, everything, it was like, oh, she might have a chance. And then like the next day, I was like, yeah, I knew she was. When I don't know why I got my hopes up. I just had a feeling that I mean just the way everything panned out with Biden like dropping out and then her coming in last minute, only having 100 days to campaign, as opposed to like I feel like people typically have at least I want to say like 6 months
I
or three
mean,
months.
at
Well, three
least I
months is
feel like
100
Trump has
days.
been campaigning since he was
Left office.
not elected again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And she wasn't the Democratic Party's choice. So just all of that, I was like, this would be great, but she wasn't in a position to have the time to discuss things. And
this is
then
true.
I also feel like because she didn't have a whole lot of time, she had to make choices. People feel like she should have appeared here when she appeared there and what have you. So it would have been great.
With,
Kamala, it would
right,
have been great.
it would have been great. And I would say, with the choices she had made and the restricted time, I would argue she still did better
She did
than her
amazing.
counterpart.
Oh
But
yeah, she did a
that's
great
not
job.
the society we live in at the moment. I will say, she did great, and the fact that she was even able to like do as good as she did with the polls,
Hmm.
given the short amount of time.
Yeah,
She had a lot going against her and still outperformed, yet still lost. And
yeah,
if that's not society for you, I don't know what is.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
Once the
I couldn't have
debate
said,
happened and people were still for him, I was like, oh, y'all.
yeah, I thought
Yeah.
she did pretty decent, but it's just so difficult. I feel like running against Trump is hard, regardless, because I feel like the debate was a lot of like personal jabs because of the just the nature of it instead of like, okay, let's talk about issues and stuff. He skirted around questions, she skirted around questions, like it's just it's all a thing. What I value at the end of the day is people. You know what? Okay, let's bring religion to it. People made in the image of God who have freedom, right? Like we're all born with certain freedoms. And I want to vote for the person who allows people to be. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
God doesn't force you to follow him, right? All of the people I feel like tend to vote based off of religion. But I feel like at the base of religion is a choice. You have choices. So let people live in a world where they can make choices for themselves and their families. Whether you agree
Hmm.
with that choice or not, they should have choices. And that's what I based my decision off of. So if you disagree with that, I mean, that's fine. A lot of people don't agree with me. You don't have to.
Well,
Um,
they're wrong. And well, what my mom said, because my mom, she voted for Kamala. She said, it's people's right to vote or whatever.
yep.
It's like just because it's their right doesn't mean they're not wrong. And
Hmm.
we'll see with these 4 years. Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like it's unfortunate. And not to say that every Trump supporter is like this, but on the day of the election, I was just, watching a streamer on TikTok and people are throwing racial slurs in the comments, saying, "Oh, N-words, you are gonna have to do XYZ." And it's like, okay, what I don't like is that he speaks to like the worst parts of our society, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Like, okay, if you want to support that man, that's great, but like promoting hate and division is not productive, you know?
Right.
So I can't tell you that me as a person of color, I feel so great, like being out and about in a red state, Florida particularly.
Fucking Florida. Oh my
Where we
God.
can't talk Florida. If y'all don't know, Florida's an interesting place. They've changed the curriculum in high school. You can't teach psychology, you can't teach black history. Like they're
You
changing.
can't teach that?
No, you could be, yeah, if you're in a public school, you cannot, namely like high school, elementary school, middle school, they're taking it out of the curriculum. They can't talk about it anymore because it's
Why?
divisive, apparently. They had this whole campaign, it's called Stop Woke, where they don't want people talking about things that make other people uncomfortable. And it's like, so we want to just like they're banning books. Like, you remember the book Fahrenheit 451?
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of like just the government like repressing what people can discuss and talk about
That is
in public school, like literally changing history. Just don't no, no, don't talk about the slavery part. Don't talk about this part. I'm not exactly 100% sure which parts they're taking out, but essentially you can't study those things. So AP psychology, AP Black history, those courses are out,
that's crazy.
isn't it?
I that is wild to me. Why would it like it's divisive?
It is. It's like, because I guess the standpoint is like, every like the whole stop woke thing is like, oh, it's not patriotic to discuss those things, and it's like, but it's part of history. If you
But
don't
it's
want history,
patriotic to be transphobic, homophobic, racist, all that. The act of
mm-hmm,
slavery, like what are we
mm-hmm,
saying right now? But
it's
we can't
bad.
learn about the past. This backwards, I can't. Define
Yeah.
patriotism
Yeah. And
quickly.
the reason why they took out psychology was mainly for the discussions around trans individuals, how they identify, understanding how they identify. They're like, nah, take it out of the curriculum. So those particular topics, and then I'm pretty sure Black history included critical race theory, which they're against. So they're like, no, no, just because you're Black doesn't mean that, you feel like oppressed and you feel like this. That's not true. And so they've taken that out. It's really bad. This is my Cliff Notes version of it, but that's essentially
Right.
what they're doing in
Didn't
Florida.
to kind of pivot, but not really. Z-Way on her show that was
Mhm.
canceled for no good reason. Didn't she have a segment where she talked about critical race theory with like people who were
Yeah,
against it?
she
Okay, I
did.
remember that.
Yes, she had a little classroom set up and she was talking to people about it.
Hmm.
Baiting it as she does. And yeah, some people really don't like it. And that's fine. I just feel like opinions going into freedoms is like that's where I feel like it draws the line. Like just because you don't agree with this thing doesn't mean people can't learn it. You know what I mean? Just because
Right.
you don't agree with what I do with my body doesn't mean I shouldn't be able to do it. You know what I mean? So,
Right. I
yeah.
saw like this one girl, there's like, I don't know where they're finding these angry white blonde girls that are like so pro-Trump and like angry when they talk. I'm like,
Really?
where are they finding these people? But she was like, oh yeah, like I deal with so much hate and all this, and like I want to be a traditional wife, and that's the kind of society we want to live in, and da 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 da. And it's just like, that's fine if you want to be a trad wife. Like, do that.
Just do it.
Why do you have to then make it so other people need to or should want to like be
Right.
a trad wife?
Be
That's
a trad wife.
perfectly fine. What's her
Perfectly
name?
fine.
The one who bakes everything from scratch?
Oh, Zara Smith or something like that.
Nora
Nora Smith.
Smith?
Yeah.
Something like that. She's always homemade gum because we couldn't go to the store.
My
She,
children wanted fresh toast.
so I took 12 hours to make fresh French toast. It's a late brunch. But
Um,
it's just one of those things. It's like no one's telling you not to be a traditional wife, but
mhm.
it's just that it's just like so like, well, you need to do this because it's the right way and
Yeah.
like follow my lead and like all this and like you shouldn't judge me for wanting that. Only no one's judging you for wanting to do it. They're judging you because you're judging other people. It's just a backwards
It
thing.
is. It is. Like and it's unfortunate. But hey, look, it's not the end of the world. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that maybe some good can come of this. I'm hopeful that things won't take too much of a downward spiral now that there's some the Senate is taking over this
Right.
majority Republican and things like that. It is a little scary, but I'm just trying to stay hopeful. Thankfully, I don't have kids. Thankfully, like we're kind of in a position where it doesn't really affect us too bad, but
Ugh, it's just it's wild.
and you know what? The other thing I'll say is just like it is frustrating how his campaign was basically like ran on lies. I'm glad. Well, I don't know if the whole thing was, but he did say a lot of things that just like blatantly aren't true. Like how he was trying to say that, oh yeah, your son will go to school and come back a girl. They don't even give Advil or ibuprofen at school. You think they're doing sex changes in public schools? That's
He's
crazy.
just speaking to the like really I don't fucking look, he's speaking to I feel like he sounds like those like 40-year-old, 30 to 40-year-old straight hunting guys who are just
Yeah.
like it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and
Adam and Steve.
Steve.
And
And just
that's
like,
fine.
why then I just, oh,
Yeah.
America, I don't even know how to
No,
articulate
no,
it.
I agree. What you're saying is he campaigns to a particular type of person who has particular prejudices against the LGBTQ plus community, against immigrants, against minorities, etc. They have this narrative of how they feel the world is, and he's like feeding into that, and unfortunately it worked. And I think, and then there's also other people who are like interested in how their businesses will improve and interested in other things that he's doing. I'm not saying all of it's necessarily like that negative, but just
I
that
mean, if
he
you're
could like,
rich,
right. But just the fact that he like just lies is crazy. I'm glad they had a fact checker on the debate. But like you go to your route, if you go to a rally and you're saying that, oh, my kid's gonna have a ch sex change at school, of course I'd vote for you. That's terrifying, you
I mean,
know,
yeah, if you're uneducated,
if you're uneducated.
which didn't he say something like, I love that a lot of people are uneducated or they'll vote for me. There was something I heard that he said something to that effect.
Well, when we were watching the camp, when we were watching MSNBC because they were like talking about different counties and like the votes that were coming in from those counties. And they did say that, like some of the factors that they look at is that like, okay, a lot of people in this county don't have college degrees, and that like breeds a certain type of person. Not to say that everybody's stupid, but it's just that I feel like a lot of people who I don't know. Maybe not.
There's a
They're
lot of
saying that
stupid
like
people.
folks who are uneducated tend to vote.
Tend to like Trump. It is what
Yes.
it is. Um, that is what
Unfortunately.
I remember now that we had listened to that.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but yeah, so that's where we're at. If
we gotta move, Brandon.
Yeah, we gotta. Oh, we. Why did I think you were saying we gotta move on to the episode?
Oh
No, I
no,
know
we
what you
gotta
mean.
move to another country, babe. I mean,
Oh no,
California seems pretty progressive. The cost of living is insane.
it is, but
It's
like it is progressive. Look,
mm-hmm.
Colorado. I know some people who live there. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice. I've been a couple
Mm.
times. I had family that used to live there. Um, New York. I don't know if I could, but we could try.
Yeah. I wonder what it's
California. I got
yeah.
family there.
It'd be
Look, we can make
nice.
this work, Mackie. Let's backpack and let's go.
Of red states to be in. I don't know how all red states are, but this one's pretty scary. So I wouldn't mind leaving Florida and going somewhere else, man.
It is
They,
interesting with thinking and then discussions we've had of people around us who we think may have voted for him.
hmm
And then when I think of work, I'm like, I don't know where to turn. Like,
Yeah, no, I just
who's
keep my
with
head
me?
down and I mind my business. And if you ask me who I voted for, I'll just tell you Trump so you don't shoot me.
Oh, no.
Because everybody has a gun here. Everybody has a gun. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to like blend into the background. Oh, who me?
Who me?
Um, no, but
Um,
it's scary. No, I have a friend. We were talking about politics one day, and she's like, her mom's in tears over like babies and stuff. And I'm just like, this is okay. I guess we just won't talk about anything. Like, I can't even talk to you.
uh,
Anyway.
Yeah, as you said before, we don't normally talk about politics, but with the election and how disappointing the results were and how it's just felt like terrible ever since,
hmm
we got to address it and talk about it and,
Yeah.
let y'all know that we're with you. We hurt with you. We hate what
hmm
happened. This fucking sucked. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Keep your head up.
hopefully, right? And hopefully we'll make it through.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to it, listen to Kamala's last
Okay,
speech.
Chapel Roan.
Listen to her last speech because it was really good. And it gave me
Mhm.
some extra hope. It was 11 minutes. It's on TikTok if you can find it. Keep your head up. It'll be all
Yeah.
right. We'll figure
Uh,
it out.
yeah. Um, Should we jump into Mormon wives?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's
Oh, well, you know what?
pivot.
Here, we can break the ice with a funny story.
Oh, yes.
So today, Brandon and I worked out together. And before we were leaving to work out, we're both like, okay, well, we have to record later. So let's get in, let's get out. So after class, I had to ask one of the coaches a question. I turn around and this girl, like Brandon, I don't know if you noticed, but like I was talking to Coach Jen. I
Hmm.
turn around and the girl is like ready to talk to me. I felt. Did I have the wrong perception?
Probably not with that
Okay.
girl. She's nice, but she's ready to talk. She yaps
Guys,
after class.
I bumped into a yapper. I bumped into a yapper.
And
And
Maggie
the
is a fellow yapper.
I am a yapper as well. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Like me and Brandon have stuff to do. And we rode together, so he's stuck. If I
I did. I drove us. Maggie was passenger
don't
princess.
I was.
Um,
So he's
but
stuck with me.
yeah, I mean, it was a quick conversation. It was funny though. I
It
was
was
like,
because she was like, I didn't know what to say because she was looking at me like I was already having a conversation with her. So I was just like, "Oh, great job today." She's like, "Yeah." And then we started talking about something. I really don't remember. I was like, "I'm Maggie." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so and so." And I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And we were talking about classes, and then she's like, "Yeah, I usually come at this time, but I go to dance afterwards." And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool." And in my head, I'm like, "We gotta go." But then my also on the other side, I'm like, "I
what
really want
kind
to
of
know what kind of
dance?
dance it is." So I'm asking follow-up questions. Not me asking follow-up questions when we're on a time crunch.
Look, this is Maggie.
This is
Sh-
me.
She will be like,
This is me.
she still had the episode to watch as the thing as
I
well.
did.
Um,
I
Maggie
did.
will try to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Maggie will try to fit a square peg into a triangle.
Look, I know that there are people listening right now who can relate to me. Brandon is like, I have something to do Wednesday, so I'm gonna do it on Sunday.
Honestly,
That thought would never cross my mind.
it's
Never.
just like because I get such anxiety when I know I need to do something. So I'm constantly in a state of anxiety.
Me too, man.
I like if I know I gotta watch it, I'm like, boy, I should watch it then because I don't know if I want to watch it now. I don't know. Oh, this person texted me. I gotta text them back. When am I gonna text them? What is this? Oh, and I gotta watch this. Oh, I gotta prepare for this. Oh, I gotta make this, and then I gotta do this now. Like it's just constant. I need someone needs to hit me.
No, you're doing
Like
great.
I don't know. It's too much. Sometimes I'm like
You
too
think you
anxious.
feel it's funny because I have this same feelings. I just do the opposite. It's like, oh no, I have so many things to do today. I can't possibly add this other thing. So I'll do it tomorrow. It is exhausting going to bed and waking up anxious every day with the list of things you haven't touched.
Right. But you know what? It's okay because we're gonna help each other find a middle ground.
Yeah, I got a bunch of tips today of things I want to try to implement.
I
Breaking
love
things
that.
into smaller tasks.
Hmm.
If something feels too hard, figure out why it's hard and take out the hard part. Uh, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. We'll see what happens.
I believe in you, Maggie.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then adding 30 minutes to everything because I will take too long anyway.
No, she will.
I will.
But
I
that's
will.
okay. Because if
It
you
is okay.
know it, then you can plan for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But let's get
but
into it. This episode was very annoying.
a very it was the Mormon girls, they kind of went off on this episode.
Demi in particular had a lot of things to say.
She did. Demi's about that life.
She is. She was like, wait a minute.
You're
Call me
crying?
out.
What the fuck you crying about?
Get out of the. What she really wanted to say is, get out of the pantry, bitch. You were just upstairs talking all that shit, and now you're crying. You weren't crying a minute ago.
I low-key find it refreshing. I'm like, you know what? Because what she'll
Look,
do, the thing with me, she'll call you out, but she'll also own her stuff.
yeah. Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like, okay, you know?
Yeah. It At a couple moments, I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if you should do that," but I did peep. At the end of it, I was like, "I see why she did what she did, and I don't judge her for it because Whitney's a handful. Whitney is a gaslighter. Whitney might have some kind of personality, something. She acts like a narcissist.
She is like the epitome of Kendisha can't take it. And
Mm-hmm.
she's so bold behind her back.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it's straight up, she doesn't want to go to the mic.
Right. Taylor's like, "Well, why don't you like me?" And she's like, "It's not that I didn't like you. I just didn't like, it's a couple of the things you did." Girl, that's not what you told everybody else.
You're literally telling everyone you hate her. You don't want to be her friend. You never were friends.
Right.
But then
Um,
you want to like say how tell people that Demi is calling Taylor trashy. Anyways, let's get to this. I can't.
let's get into it.
All right. So this is the infamous girls trip for
Brandon,
yes.
the mic is like blocking your face.
Maggie, I like
You liked
look,
it like that?
is this better? Can you hear me still?
Yeah, why don't you just like put it near your neck?
I gotta like wait. Y'all, look at
We don't
this.
we don't need to see your chest. Oh,
For the YouTubers, I have a desk that
raises
elevates.
up and down. Yeah, yeah, just make it a little bit lower.
Mm,
Yeah,
we're doing admin. Sorry, y'all. How's that?
that's better.
Okay. I look good. This lighting's
Yeah. We
atrocious.
can't block your beautiful face,
Oh
Brandon.
my God, Maggie, stop. Um, but soon we'll
Yeah,
be
I
in
think it's
person,
fine
y'all.
there.
But
Oh yeah.
anyways,
Okay, let's go.
but it's the girls' trip for
Girls trip.
Macy's birthday. Macy's fake ass. I can't with Macy's.
For anyone who is interested in becoming a reality TV star, do not let these hoes ruin your birthday. Work around it.
Work around it or just
Never
like, I don't
have
know.
any kind of group activity, small or large, on your birthday because it will be ruined
No, it will be.
expeditiously.
But like that's a part of it. I mean, they weren't doing that much fun shit to begin with, to be honest.
It was a very boring birthday
Yeah, like
party.
everything they had planned, I was like, okay,
Yeah, the second day they're all talking and they're like, "Oh, it's 6 o'clock," and I was like, "It's 6? You
let's
haven't
film
done anything to."
TikToks. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
And
I
Brandon,
can't.
when I saw the TikTok, the Whitney TikTok, I was like, "Oh my
Oh my
God."
God. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. Oh my gosh,
Let's
that's
go.
too
Let's
much.
go.
Um, so they're going to the penthouse for Macy's birthday. Macy's like, there's been a clear division since the baby shower, which if y'all remember, Jen uninvited,
Hmm.
Jesse, Demi, and Taylor and Layla
And
to
Layla.
the baby shower
Hmm.
because of Zach. Which I mean, we're learning a little more about Zach in this episode, or starting to,
Yeah.
and he doesn't seem to be that great. So I can kind of believe it, I suppose.
I don't think it was because
Um,
of Zach. I think it's because they're not Mormon enough.
that part too.
Yeah.
Um, but this is where Whitney says, "Oh, there's going to be a boxing match with like Taylor," but Macy's like, she's pregnant. She's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." And I'm like, "Oh, you're talking a big game about fighting a pregnant girl, but then when the non-pregnant girl calls you out later, you cry." It's interesting. Um, but Taylor in the meantime is anxious about confrontation.
Hmm.
But she's grateful Mom Talk has given her a second chance. And Demi has Taylor's back with Whitney because she's still pissed about the cereal. This thing about Demi, she has not forgotten about the Fruity Pebbles. And
Mm-mm.
she's like, that bitch decided to put cereal in a box. She doesn't know I got some tricks up my sleeve. And then grab her by
Hmm.
her fucking flipped ass bob and drag her all across this penthouse.
Get
Uh,
her. Demi did not forget. She's like, I have a bone to pick with Whitney, so it's about to go down.
it's about to be a what? A girl fight?
I think it's very interesting that Layla drove all of them to the wherever they were going, to the
Yeah.
penthouse, however far it was, in
The
her nice
grouping,
car.
yeah, the grouping was kind of interesting too.
Well, I guess it's just because they couldn't fit three and five in a car. They had to be four and four.
I guess. Because, like, it
Hmm.
was the first people to arrive were Demi, Jesse, Michaela, and Taylor, which Michaela being a part of that was interesting because she's usually more of like the
Oh, you're
Mormon trio
right. You're right. I
with
didn't
the
even think about
blondes.
that.
But she seems to be turning more publicly these days with this
I think it's
episode.
literally it was Layla's car and it was like, oh, well, we're gonna go with Layla. Her car is
Probably.
cooler. The doors are do whatever the thing is. I don't know if you saw. They come down from high up.
Oh, good
She
for
had a really
her.
cool car.
Good for her.
They're like,
Um,
Michaela, we'll see you there.
we'll see you there. Okay, bye, Michaela. You ride with them. You ride with the sinners. We're gonna take Layla's nice whip.
Hopefully the car doesn't blow up on your way there.
Oh my God. So they arrive, and I will say the penthouse looked
It
nice.
was very nice, yeah.
I was like, I'd stay there. We'd have more fun there.
Hmm.
Demi says her and Brett are in a disagreement about the cereal thing, and he doesn't care that she shared it, but he feels as though it's almost like he doesn't want to second guess what they do in the bedroom. I guess maybe it's causing some shame, everyone making fun of it, which I can get, I guess.
I didn't think it was that deep. Just be like, hey, don't say anything from here on out, okay?
Right.
Okay. He's like, oh, so I can't act in the bedroom anymore. And it's like,
I can't do these things I want to do.
just
Huh.
ask her to not. How about we just hold on? We're making this harder than it needs to be. Demi, stop talking about the bedroom stuff, please. Thanks.
Demi, don't tell these girls. They're not your
Yeah,
friends.
that's it.
Um, Demi understands she opened the can of worms, but still thinks what Whitney did was tacky, which is true. Michaela says Whitney likes to think she's self-aware, but she doesn't take accountability a lot of the time. And this is where she's starting to speak openly more. Because usually we were
Hmm.
getting Michaela speak in like the interviews, but now she's
Hmm.
kind of speaking more in the group, like how she doesn't agree with how Whitney didn't go to the baby shower and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And it's like, okay, Michaela.
Hmm.
Jen, Layla, Whitney, and Macy arrive and they surprise Macy with confetti. And Whitney got everyone matching sweat sets with their names in it.
They were cute. I mean, they're kind of plain, but they were
I mean,
cute.
did they help you memorize the names?
I was already good by then, but
Okay, good.
and I couldn't really even see their names on it, so no. Oh, well, it was on their chest, but yeah,
You were
no, it
like
was fine.
useless. I got their names.
I got them.
Whitney, or no, I read that one. They go in the jacuzzi in the snow and then they shower. That would be fun to go in a jacuzzi in the
In the
snow.
snow?
Yeah,
Pass.
because it's
I
like
don't know if that'd be
hot, but
fun.
then it's snowing.
I didn't see Taylor in any of those scenes, so I wondered if she couldn't go in the pool.
Probably not.
But yeah, it did seem interesting. They were swimming in the regular pool too. I wonder if both were heated, but maybe
Oh,
that's
maybe.
refreshing. They live in the snow, so I get it. Y'all do your thing.
Right. Jesse says Jordan, her husband, is nervous about being alone with the kids. And then Jen is just like, yeah, anyway, so me and Zach, we're not like in a good place because like he thinks his job's more important, but I'm the fucking breadwinner. So it's kind of weird that he thinks his unemployed ass can tell me what to do. And I'm like, period.
And did she mention anything specifically? She was kind of talking in loose terms. She didn't really like say he doesn't want me to do XYZ, but she's like, I'm the breadwinner, so I get to say no to things now, and I feel like I have a voice now, kind of thing.
Yeah, because she was kind of getting at how the Mormon culture, the man's supposed to be like the provider or all
Hmm.
this. And a lot of these girls on Mom Talk are the actual breadwinners and they're like making money. So I could see Zach being maybe insecure about that. And his whole thing, I guess, was because he's going to go to med school. He thinks what he's doing is more important because it will provide for the family for the future. But in the meantime, Jen's
She's
the one
doing it.
making the money.
Yeah. I don't even
So
understand how that's a conversation. You don't have a job.
you don't
What are
have a
we talking
job.
about? What are we talking about? Okay, you're gonna be a doctor one day. That's cool. But right now,
Is
you
that
don't have a
today?
job.
Watch Grey's Anatomy and shut up and watch
It's
the
just
kid
like,
while I go to this penthouse.
also, med school takes a long ass time. I feel like
It
he should be more
does.
grateful that your wife is holding you down to go to med school. and you get to like just focus on that. You don't have to worry about feeding the kids you guys had super young.
Right. I don't know, but as I've heard, I think their situation gets a lot worse.
Oof,
And
okay.
like, I don't know. I also wanted to point out, do you think that Jesse, Demi, and Macy look the same, but Macy's blonde, Jesse has more brown hair, and then Demi has more hazel eyes, whereas the other two have piercing blue eyes that make them always look like they're staring.
I have to see a picture.
I'm like, those
Um,
three are triplets.
Jesse, Demi, and Stacy.
Macy.
Macy.
They're like same face, arguably same hair, but Macy's blonde. And then Jesse and Demi are like, are people saying like, I heard some girl try to say like teddy bear brown or teddy bear blonde, where it's like brunette with blonde. There's this girl on TikTok. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be teddy bear blonde or teddy bear brown. I'm dyeing my hair from platinum." And then she did it. Her hair looked barely any different. And it was such like a hype. I was like, "Ooh, I'm ready to see these results." And then I was like, "Did I miss it?"
So
Maggie's pulling
it
up the
didn't look
pictures.
nice? Yeah,
It
I have
looked
to see a
good,
picture.
but like it just was not it wasn't that different. There's no one more empowered than a blonde who decided to go a little less blonde. They're like, I'm doing the change of a century. I will not be as blonde
You're
this
so
time
funny.
tomorrow.
So you said Stacy,
Macy.
Macy, the blonde, yes.
Yeah.
Who- And then Jesse.
Demi and Jesse.
Yes, they all have the same exact face. Wow. So Stacy's, wait, is that her name? Stacy?
Macy.
Macy. When I
Mind you,
said it,
just
it
five
sounded
minutes
wrong.
ago, Maggie was like, no, I got the
Stacy.
names.
I guess I don't have the
I mean, you're
name.
close, is the thing. It
I,
rhymes.
Macy is blonde.
Like platinum.
Jessie is like a dirty blonde or a brunette with blonde streaks.
hmm
And Demi just has blonde hair. Yeah, they could. I actually feel like Demi and Jessie look the most alike. But yes, they all kind of
They
have the
do because
same
they have like the
face.
same hair.
Yeah, because when she was doing, now that I think back to like the salon scene that they had, if you look at them, they both look exactly the same.
They do, sisters. Um,
Sisters.
but so Jen forgot. Oh no, wait. Okay, so Jesse, after Jen tells her all those things about Zach, Jesse thinks it was all Zach in regards to uninviting her to the baby shower, and she thinks her and Jen are actually now on a good path to like
Well,
making up.
Well, it took me a minute to realize that, oh, this is the person that you uninvited from your event that you're speaking to so candidly and having an open discussion. And
just last episode.
I recall now that I'm seeing it in real time, I recall that Jesse was like, but I felt like I'm like the closest person to you. And she's like, yeah, but you can't come. And then here she goes, like revealing her like vulnerable moment with her. And I'm like, so that
Right.
is your friend. You're just being weird. And
Yeah.
they were both interacting so well that I even forgot that they had that argument. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was such a fluid conversation.
It was. You would have thought they never argued before.
Maybe Jen forgot too. She's like, "Ah, where's my script? Oh, we're supposed to have a little bit of conflict."
But I don't know if I can because I do like you, Jesse.
I really like
Um,
you, Jesse, but like my husband doesn't like you, and then your husband wasn't it Jesse's husband who brought the flask?
yes.
Yeah, she's like, and you're an alcoholic. I can't do that.
You're an
Um,
alcoholic.
but
Oh,
yeah, she does point it back to his family, and it kind of makes a little more sense and how like traditional they are.
yeah. Um,
So,
I think they're getting ready, like kind of for the night and unpacking. And this is where she talks about how she forgot her garments that she normally wears because of the Mormon religion.
mhm.
And then they all eat dinner, a chef prepared. And I wanted to ask you, did you think it looked good?
It didn't. That salmon had like no
I
seasoning
was
on it.
like, why is where it's so pale?
It's so
Is it
pale.
cooked?
And then he made some like chicken that also didn't look so great. And then they had these things that looked like lasagna kind of. I don't know what it was, but I was like, ooh, send it back.
Return to sender, please.
Call the chef. Tell him to go away. This isn't good.
That
Get
was
a
terrible.
refund.
I was like, and they were like, oh, yes, we get to dig in. And I was like, oh, no, I would have.
Notice how nobody discussed the meal.
They did not. I
What
keep
happened?
hearing shit and I keep thinking someone's trying to break in, but I think it's just neighbors. I'm getting used to having neighbors, y'all. At first, I couldn't hear anything.
What are they doing?
I don't know. I felt like I could hear the door, but maybe they were just like walking and it's their door. And then I think also I heard my ice machine at one point. And then
Yeah.
earlier, my coffee maker, I got this new amazing coffee maker that's like a glorified Keurig, y'all. But it does this thing where it will like power down and it's so fucking loud. I'm like, what is happening? Uh,
Maybe take one ear out so you can still hear around you and it doesn't sound like just like random noise.
I don't know. We'll see.
You'll be okay, Brandon. We need to get you a ring camera.
You'll see if someone breaks in. The front door is right over there.
Yeah, I
Um,
can run over and help you.
oh, you
I'm
can.
nearby.
They toast to Macy and they say all the reasons they love her. And they're
hmm
pretty basic things, I would say, like, I love you, you make me feel I can be myself, like you're so fun. But the only interesting was Taylor's, I thought.
I was like Taylor, and then I love how production cut it up to make it sound bad, but yeah,
Yeah, because it was like, I just love that you're blunt, and some may call it bitchy, but I like it.
yeah. And in between, it was like you,
Can we
but I
talk
like
about, yeah, can
it.
we talk about how Taylor, low key, is she the most normal?
I really feel like she is,
She's had quite the
especially.
interesting trajectory.
Hmm.
It's just she's the
But
most self-aware.
yeah, run with this for a second. Do you think she was just drunk when we saw her last?
Like, you mean
Like,
the first episode?
yeah, the
Yeah, well,
first.
I mean, she would
I
talk
think
about
she
it.
was
She's like,
drunk for
I
most
like
of the
getting
time.
drunk. I just want to turn up and like all this.
But she was very like out there and kind of like wild. Like that day they had the girls' day, I'm almost 100% sure she was drunk.
Oh
Because
yeah.
Taylor, calm Taylor, not drunk Taylor, pregnant Taylor, real laid back.
Really laid back, really like just cognizant and like aware of herself and others.
Yeah.
She said something a little questionable to Demi, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But, in the meantime, it just she seems very like, I don't know, just more with it and self-aware
Yeah.
than a
I
lot
feel
of the
like she
others.
is. I feel like Demi is. I haven't
Hmm.
heard Layla say anything crazy yet. And
Same.
Michaela. Michaela kind of keeps it a buck, but she's just like, hmm.
Mm,
She keeps it a buck to herself. She's not
right.
gonna say anything to you.
Jesse seems self-aware.
Oh yeah.
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 But so Demi's surprise, she has an activity, a truth box. And this is where Whitney says, because what the thing is, like, you write a truth or like a question directed to someone, but it's anonymous. So they're going to pick it from the box and then it will be addressed to whoever it is.
hmm
But Whitney in her confessional says, this is dumb because if you want to say something, say it to their face, which is ironic because she's the one who talks the most shit behind people's backs.
Oh, this is interesting, Whitney. That's something you should try when in your spare time. Just say things to people's face.
Maybe practice what you preach, Bob.
This is also very housewife-esque. I feel like I remember a similar game on them playing a game like this in Atlanta.
Remember, it was like the Bailey Q, and it was like Cynthia
Oh
Bailey's, and it was just like,
yeah.
who's the fakest? And everyone has
Yeah.
to say,
And it never goes well, these
no,
games.
it's perfect for reality TV. Whenever
Yes.
someone says, I have a game, it's like, okay, we're going to try to start a fight.
Brandon, that
What?
reminds me. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I was just thinking about something like a similar game. And have you heard of the and?
No.
They make videos on YouTube
Okay.
and they have these cards and they're supposed to help you like get deeper in your relationship with people. So it's like a box of cards or an app. You can use an app too, and it pops up questions and you have to answer the questions and it's like supposed to get deeper with those people. So they have it for like kids, for friends and stuff. We should do it for relationships. We should do it.
Okay.
And then we can record ourselves.
Maggie's like, let's get deep.
That'd be fun.
What's your greatest fear?
No,
Go.
it will be stuff like that. Like, what's something you're afraid to tell me? What's something you regret? What do you like most about me? And it's just like these cool
What's your favorite thing
conversations.
about me?
What's your favorite since you love me? What's your favorite thing about me?
Since I'm
It'd be cool.
amazing.
It'd be fun.
It would be. I'll be down.
Okay, that's it. That's the end of my sidebar.
Now on to the messy truth box.
Hmm.
Um, they change into the sweats and they write all their questions on a card anonymously. Um, the first question is Layla, whose husband would you sleep with? She
Oh my
says
gosh.
Brett, which is Demi's, and Demi's like, I understand completely.
Is he the old head? No, that's
Yes.
McKay. Oh, it is him.
He's like the 40 something, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Who would you say? I don't remember anybody's husband.
I don't
Jen's husband was
either.
handsome, the blonde.
Zach?
Yeah.
This the long platinum blonde hair?
Oh, who should I pick? Whitney's husband? Not Whitney's husband, who's and not that old man that they picked. I don't think he's that handsome.
I feel like I haven't seen his face. I feel like they barely ever show him. We
Okay,
gotta
now we
see
have
him
to find a
again.
picture. Wait, whose husband was it?
Demise. They just none of the above.
I'm gonna
Um,
drop a link to a picture of her husband, and we can see if he's if that's a good choice. Oh my gosh, he's handsome.
oh, is he?
He's so handsome.
Maggie has
I
a
take it back.
crush.
I take it back. I'd pick him too.
She gets it. That's funny.
I'm gonna drop a link so
Oh
you can
Lord, send a
see.
link so I could see what Brett looks like.
He's so handsome. Oh my gosh. Okay, Demi, you pulled a
Okay.
baddie.
All right.
Oh, I don't remember him looking like this at all.
It could just be the picture. But that of all the husbands, if we're looking at this picture from Us Weekly,
Yes.
yes, he's the best.
This specific picture, he looks pretty good. Dakota, not it. Whitney's husband, not it.
A Dakota, no. Whitney's
Mm-mm.
husband, oh.
I
I
don't remember
forget
any
what
of the
Jesse's
others.
husband looks like. Does have we seen Macy's husband?
I don't think so.
We might have. He might be okay looking.
Wasn't she the one who was like super young? It was Macy.
No, that was Michaela,
Oh.
not him.
Oh, okay.
Um, there's not much to choose from. So
There's
based off this picture, we'll choose Brett too. We're
well,
with you,
you
Layla.
know what? Scratch that for me. I will say I understand why you chose him. And I'll
Not
leave
you
it
being like
there.
Zach's handsome. What?
I thought so. He's like, he kind of looks like Matt from um uh
Big brother,
yeah.
the other problematic guy.
Brandon, we're not talking about their behavior, we're talking about their appearance.
He wasn't all that either, appearance wise.
Yeah, you're right. I was just thinking between him and Whitney's husband. I was like,
They
it could
do
have
kind
been
of look
him.
alike though. They have a similar vibe.
Yeah.
Um, Jen says she would go lesbian for Taylor and kisses her cheek to prove it.
They're like, kiss, kiss. And Jen's like, you guys already know how I am.
Don't do this.
Stop stressing me out. I can't take the
Stop
peer
it.
pressure. She like
No.
goes and gives her a kiss on the cheek.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, gosh, Jen, relax.
Take a chill pill, Jen.
We know it's a
Gosh.
game. Chill out.
Um, then Whitney gets this question. Why don't you like Taylor? Are you jealous of her clout?
Oh boy.
And this is where Whitney says she's not jealous of her clout, but she is jealous of the forgiveness Taylor received during the swinger drama because Whitney didn't get any forgiveness with her RSV video. So with this RSV video, the background is Whitney's baby had a health scare concerning its oxygen levels, which is sad, but he got better. So it was all good. It worked out. So she wanted to celebrate. So she did a TikTok dance. And it was not just her dancing, like, oh, yes, I'm just so happy, like, da da da. It was her babies in like the ICU or just in the incubator. She
Hmm.
kisses its head and then it's like, love me, they love me.
And it has words over it. It's like, the baby's name has an incident with this. We've been in the hospital for this time, but now it's getting better. And she just looks so happy. And her baby is just laying there in an incubator. It's so weird looking. It's so bizarre.
The baby's
Like,
like looking at the camera too, like
what's going
going
on,
through
mom?
it. Like it was that was a choice.
It was a choice. And so people were like, girl, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why'd you make this video?
Right? And this is where Taylor tells us, she's like, girl, what the fuck? I still get threats and bullying comments from what I did. So I don't know what you're
Hmm.
talking about.
I wish she had said that instead of just saying it in the confessional. Like, what do you mean? Like, see, this is the problem with Whitney, is this is not her real answer.
No.
She's throwing shit at the wall, and whatever she's saying is it's stupid. Like, what do you mean Taylor got forgiveness? Like, people talk about these things that are not like that's such a what do you mean she got forgiveness? Everybody wrote her letters saying we forgive you. All of Mom Talk accepted her back. Like, accept, like, be explicit. You guys in this room were nice to her right away and not to me. Like, if that is your reason, like, help us understand. But it's so vague that it doesn't make sense. Like, who forgave her? America? Why are you jealous? That has nothing to do with her. If that is the
Yeah.
case, and it doesn't seem like it is.
Right. And it's like it might be one of the underlying reasons, but it's not the only reason for sure. And
Right.
it's not the same energy even saying behind her back.
Exactly. And so it's like, why don't you like Taylor? Or why are you jealous of Taylor? And it's like, I'm not. I'm just jealous of how people forgave her. And it's like, girl, nope. I love how everybody was like, she's obviously jealous.
She's lying.
She's
So
not
there's
telling the
that.
truth. Yeah. And we
No.
just had this sidebar about the RSV thing for just fun.
Right. Jesse doesn't understand why Whitney won't be honest to Taylor's face. And then Taylor gets asked if she would leave Dakota if he slept with this girl, Jenna.
Hmm.
And she's like, yes, I would leave Dakota if he actually slept with her. Now, apparently, the background on this is before they were official, he had slept with someone. And then he was with this girl, Jenna, to which he said he had only kissed her. And Taylor was like, be honest. And he said, I just kissed her. So her thing is, if she found out that he actually did sleep with her, she would be done. And I'm like,
That's valid, I guess.
I
Stand on
guess
business.
sounds confusing and messy, which is on
It
brand
does.
for Taylor and Dakota.
It is
So,
very on brand. Like the fact that that happened at all is very concerning. Like he just what I don't know.
yeah. Um, Demi gets asked why did Demi get asked or did Jen get asked? Someone got asked and referred. Apparently, it gets brought up that Demi had called Jen too Mormon, and Demi denies, however, saying that Jen was too Mormon, but she says that Jen does bring it up a lot. And then Whitney giggles, and Demi's like, I love that you're giggling right now because I know you were the one who told her. And I'm like,
Then
period. And this is where we get a flashback of Whitney talking to Jen, and she's like, yeah, so like Demi was like saying something like that you were like, I don't know, like Two
Two
Mormon.
Mormon.
And
And then
so,
that was when the white trash was shared as well.
yes, shortly that will get brought up again as
Hmm.
this continues because Demi says Macy and Whitney agreed but with
Hmm.
her, but they deny it. And Whitney gets hype and she's like, absolutely not. And Demi goes, that's not a word, but okay. And I'm like, period to me. Whitney says they were shocked, and she tries to backtrack and call Demi out. No, Whitney tries to backtrack, and Demi calls her out and is just like, be about it. You said this, so like own it.
Yeah.
But they're maintaining they did not. And this is where Jen is like, well, I'm confused because you claimed you were a 9 out of 10 on the Mormon scale. And Demi's like, it's not about that. It's that you bring everything back to being Mormon and like talk
Hmm.
about your garments and talk about this. And it always has to be about being Mormon.
Hmm.
And then Jen says, well, you know what? You do this a lot. Like you're kind of fake and talking about people behind their back, kind of like how you called Taylor white trash. And
This is all over the
Whitney
place.
also told her this because it cuts to the same event and flashback where Whitney's like, yeah, and she like called Taylor white trash. And then Taylor's like, when did you say that? Why did you say that? And to me, it's like, one night you were drunk and you were getting flirty with Brett. And Taylor's like, no, I wasn't. I never did that. And she's like, no, you definitely did. And you were going husband to husband flirting. And this was all before the swinging thing was revealed.
Hmm.
And then this is where I think Jen tries to chime in. And Demi's like, you need a shush. She stayed on Jen, just being like, shut the fuck up, Jen. Why are you
Hmm.
talking?
I don't even know what Jen was trying to add.
I don't either. Jen was just trying to talk, and she's like, "No, enough from you." Um,
They're like, did you just hush her? Did you
and
just
she's
tell
like,
her to hush? She's
"I
like, I
did, and it's
did.
because she needs to." But she said Demi says a lot of what Taylor does is trashy, specifically the swinging era and all the TikToks she made about it, where she was like flippant about it. And Taylor's like, "Well, you know, it's trashy when you like took off your clothes in front of Dakota." Like you were getting mic'd and you took off all your clothes in front of Dakota and he was like so uncomfortable. Like he saw your breasts, so your breasts were just like out. And he was like, wow, like you just did that in front of Dakota. And he was like so uncomfortable. And then it cuts to a flashback where Demi had her shirt off already. She barely opens the door just to be like, is someone here? And then I guess downstairs Dakota was there with um Taylor.
Yeah.
And then I guess she went back, but it wasn't like she did it in front of him. Like she was just getting mic'd and she was just seeing if anyone was there.
Yeah, the way they talked about it made me feel like I hadn't seen it because I was like, are we still talking about the same scene? Because Taylor's like, you took your dress off in front of Dakota and Dakota was right there and he was so uncomfortable. And I'm like, I just saw her open the door with a bra on. A very
Right.
modest bra, mind you.
Very. And she
The
was like,
modest of all bras.
yeah, it was like nothing. So
Yeah.
if it was that instance, I don't know what Taylor's talking about.
Yeah.
But Demi says, well, you know what? If he was uncomfortable, that's his problem, not mine. And I'm not the swinger trying to seduce other husbands. And that instantly shuts Taylor up. She's like, ooh, I get it. I was a swinger.
Yeah.
Let me shut up. Um, but this was funny because Demi's like, people are out for my blood, and it's not her game backfiring. Like, she's like, let's play this game where we tell
Yeah.
the truth about each other, and I'm gonna come for Whitney. But then it turns and everyone's like, well, actually, fuck you,
You to
Demi.
me. It all came back to her. It did. There's so much to unpack there.
So whose side are you on in this argument?
This thing is all over the place. Okay, there's how many players are there? Five? It's
Yes, because
Macy,
Macy and
Whitney.
Whitney,
Hmm.
Demi, Jen, and then Taylor. So five.
And there's several topics being discussed. So let's talk about the first thing, which is you said Homegirl was too Mormon. Um, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it is not, I guess it's not a nice thing to say. It's not that bad, though.
I
It's not
mean,
that big of a deal.
it's
But
not.
I feel like when somebody is like, well, I was gonna say, if I just like make a comment about a friend or something in passing, um, it doesn't have to be told to them. I feel like it's shady that Whitney told her.
It is, especially if she did agree with
Right.
Demi.
Right. And like I feel like Demi's perfect argument for the two Mormon thing is you uninvited me from your perfect Mormon baby blessing, you know? So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and I think I've heard maybe in interviews or something that they were shocked like when she was filming how much she would talk about it.
mm.
Because they've also said stuff. Remember, Jen's like the one that's like, will take the nudes and like has the lingerie and
Oh,
like all
really?
this. Remember when Demi said
Oh,
you inspired me to take this picture in the like first
yeah.
episode and they
Yeah,
showed
yeah.
and it was like a nude. So it's just like, I wonder if Demi's whole thing is just like, you keep like trying to act like you're like this devout Mormon, which you are, but it's like, you're all like Pollyanna about it. And it's like, you're much more
Yeah.
loose with it.
Yeah. And but I just feel like okay, there's one thing of like people talking shit and like saying personal things and attacking somebody, but I feel like saying someone's too Mormon is just so minor that it really didn't have to be brought up. You know?
No.
It was very minuscule, but you know, we're in the business of well, in this show, they're in the business of okay, whatever you say in private, say it in public, okay? Um, but for Jen to then be like, well, then why'd you give yourself a 9 out of 10? Is kind of proving like you're too Mormon.
Yeah.
If you're a 9 out of 10, then how am I too Mormon? You know what I mean?
Right.
It was a good point though.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. That one was interesting, but like you said, it was pretty minor. Like, oh, you're too Mormon. Like, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right. The white
Uh,
trash comment.
yeah, that's interesting.
Not nice.
That is something I would be like, girl, they said XYZ about you. That's something
Right.
worth sharing.
It is. I could see why Demi would be like annoyed with Taylor. I don't know if I would call her a white trash because she got drunk and flirted with your husband.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
In her defense, if you were flirting with my man, I might say some very mean things about you.
That part. So it's
I
kind
might
of
say some
like,
like not pro women things. I might call you a name. You know what I mean? Like
or
I
two.
might or two. Cause that is kind of crossing a line. My frustration is why is it going from Demi to Whitney to Jen to Taylor? Like
Yeah.
Whitney needs to shut the fuck up. Why are you saying so much about, you know what I mean? Oh, Demi said you're too Mormon. She also called Taylor white trash. Like, why did those things get shared on the same day?
It was pretty weird. I wonder because you know how we've talked about things seemed a little like either scripted or like it seemed very like, okay, I have to sit down and tell you these things. Like
Yeah,
it was an awkward flashback.
it was.
But
And I wonder if the whole conversation was, oh yeah, and so did this, and so did that. Like, I
yeah.
bet it was just her like sharing all the
And
tea she has.
Whitney likes to talk shit about people behind their back. So it's rich when someone like that is saying that other people are saying things when it's like you say the most things.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I'm grateful she did because this was like the best episode.
Oh yeah, no,
She
a lot
Demi
got
got
out there.
activated. Demi was like, "Oh, y'all thought y'all were the queens of mom talk." That's so interesting.
Oh, we want to talk about gossip.
Oh, you want to
Hooray!
talk about gossip?
Let's do
I guess
it.
y'all didn't think Demi would be front and center, but guess what?
She is.
One fruity pebble gift with no milk. Oh, honey, I'm spilling all the milk.
And you wrapped it in such a nice box, you bitch.
I'm gonna box you up, bitch. Get up.
So yeah,
Uh,
the white trash thing wasn't nice. I understood the context. Like, okay, she was just venting, she was frustrated,
mm-hmm.
Taylor did something. Taylor didn't like it and didn't care about the reason.
No.
Um, and then brought up the bra thing, which I feel like was her just grabbing something and throwing it at the wall.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit of a reach.
But I get Taylor's perspective, like, dang, like I'm not like,
How am I in it?
well, the whole she's like, why am I white trash? She's like, well, you were swinging and you're doing this. You're pregnant right now. You're not married.
Oh,
Like, there's like a lot of, you know what I mean? So I feel like Taylor probably feels insecure. So say what you need to
yeah.
say. Get your lick back, Taylor. Do what you need to do. Stand up for yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and I will say we'll get to in just a moment. I do think Demi knew that maybe she was a bit harsh about it,
Yeah.
and she'll own it, which I do
Yes,
appreciate.
I do. I do.
Um, but
But all of this really came about because of Whitney. Nobody would know any of this stuff if Whitney would keep her mouth shut.
this is true. She's a
She can't hold
necessary
water.
evil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she gets the last question because they're like, who's your least favorite in the group? And she says, right now, because of everything to me. And it's like, well, that's fake because you've been telling everyone Taylor for like a week or two, but sure.
Right, right.
But afterwards, Whitney and Macy debrief, and Whitney's annoyed that Macy didn't stick up for her enough. And Macy's like, I just didn't remember what she was talking about. I was like, wait, what? And I'm like, did you
Mm-mm.
not like you didn't remember that they weren't invited to the baby shower last week?
I kind of felt like that was a reach though. Like, fight your own battles, bitch. Why do I have to get into everything for you? Just because someone's yelling at you, I have to be like, stop yelling at her.
Well, that's what every mean girl. It's like, oh, I talk a big game, but then when my minions don't back me up
Hmm.
and defend me, I get my feelings hurt.
Right. And I
So,
feel like this is like her sidekick first test that she failed. It's like, Macy, you didn't stick up for
dem
me enough.
demerit against Macy.
Sorry. I'm gonna have to find it. Jen might be taking over soon.
I
Maybe
don't
even
know.
Layla. She drove us here.
She did, and she has that nice car. So you might you're slipping. The crown is slipping, darling. But it cuts to Demi and Taylor, and Demi tells Taylor she doesn't think ill of her. It was an isolated moment, and she apologizes and said she should have came to her.
Yes.
And it was a very nice, I thought, genuine apology where she just owned it and
Yeah.
wasn't even like, well, I wouldn't have thought that if you didn't do this. She was just like,
Yeah.
no, I shouldn't have said that. And I
Yeah.
should have just came to you if I had an issue.
Yeah.
And I was like, period.
And
And
Taylor was receptive.
she wanted to sleep alone, still like in the room and all that to like
Hmm.
relax. And Denise's like, I totally get it. I'll sleep in the bunk beds. Um, but she was very receptive and appreciated it. Because I think
Yeah.
Taylor's whole thing is as long as you own it and like aren't
Yeah.
giving her BS, she can move forward.
Right. And I was like, these are two pretty level-headed people. Like, I feel like with Demi, she can resolve a conflict with you. It's not like she's like just trying to start problems, but it's when you like deflect and things like that that she can't stand. And I agree. I hate when people do that.
Right. Same. It's just like, or if you sense someone's just being like fake and not fully honest,
Hmm.
it's like, oh no, now I'm gonna like fuck with you. Like you're
Yeah.
playing in my face right now.
Yeah. Oh, you think I'm stupid? Okay.
Oh, you think I'm stupid. Demi regrets the word she used, but is hopeful they can move forward.
Demi Brandon,
Oh, Demi, my bad. I'm so sorry. I was just reading too
not Demi
quickly.
Lovato.
Not Demi Lovato. This is Demi
Whatever
something.
her last name is.
Demi Queen Bee. Um, the next day they all make those TikToks where I don't know what the audio was, but it's like that,
Hmm.
and it's
I
they're
don't
like in
even
a
remember that
circle.
one. I wanted to go to their TikTok, excuse me, to see when it was posted so I could get a timeline of how long ago this was.
Oh, true. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Taylor goes upstairs and she asks Whitney to go with her. She's like, we need to finally talk this out. And Taylor essentially wants to know why Whitney hasn't told her what the problem is. And Whitney's like, I just didn't feel like I needed to. And it's like, but you felt the need to tell everyone else.
Hmm.
And she's like, look, we just aren't close friends. And then she like talks about how like she felt like she was there for her after the swinger drama, but it wasn't reciprocated. And it's a very calm conversation.
Very.
Nothing
Yeah.
crazy to the point where Demi is saying, "What the fuck is happening? Why are they talking like so nice?"
Demi is downstairs stewing. She's like, this is how Whitney is. This is how Whitney gets.
Right. And she's like telling other girls, like, looking back at the RSV video, like, that was a lot. And she said Whitney actually admitted to her after a ketamine treatment that she made the video for likes and clout. And she's like, I might even have video of that. And it's like, where the fuck would you get the video of it? Were you
Right.
secretly recording what's going
Do
on?
you believe her?
I mean, I don't think she would make it up,
I
but
mean, why else would you record a baby in the
well, that part
hospital?
too. And Whitney strikes me as like,
Oh,
she wants attention, she wants
oh
likes, she
yeah.
wants clout. And like,
Hmm.
again, like you said, why else would you post that video?
My thing is, if that's what she really wanted, she could have been like holding him, a tearful video about the thing. Like,
Yeah.
you're happy and dancing a weird dance in front of a baby in an incubator. Like,
Not
this
me,
is
but you know me, but you know me. It's
like
like,
this
what
is
are we doing?
weird.
It was
If you wanted clout, then you're terribly missing. Maybe you're sleep deprived. Like, why would you choose that dance, that song, all of that? You could have just like held him and cried and, told a story, turned the camera on, just talked to camera. He's here, but he's
right,
gotten a lot better. Please pray. That would have been
right.
fine.
But you wanted to do that
A
dance.
dance. So weird.
I will say Whitney though finally admits that she was bothered by what happened in episode one when she was talking about the Connor situation, and
Mm-hmm.
Taylor then like brought up her miscarriage right after and wasn't really
Mm-hmm.
there for her in that moment. And Taylor does say, I'm trying to be more mindful of listening to people before like dumping my trauma so I can work on that. And it's like, okay, look at Taylor owning it.
Yeah, it was actually becoming a productive conversation.
It was. But again, the girls are wondering, why is Whitney being so nice? And Demi's
Hmm.
like, I want to fight. So she she goes upstairs and she's like, I'm gonna interject. And she's like, look, Whitney's a gaslighter and I'm tired of it.
Hmm.
And then Whitney's like, I just feel like I got zero from everyone after the whole Connor thing. And Demi's like, I don't agree with that. I feel like we all reached out to you after everything happened with that.
Hmm.
And she Taylor's like, I just want to know what I can do to fix this. And Whitney's whole thing is, well, I don't want you to fix this because I don't care. But Demi's like, you're lying because you do care because you're telling everyone how you feel about Taylor and talking all
Hmm.
this shit about her.
Hmm.
And then Taylor's like, this is my first time hearing that we're not friends. Like, I thought we were. I was shocked you didn't
Yeah.
come to the shower. And Whitney decides to be like, whatever, I don't care. I don't regret telling Jen anything you said to me. And then Demi's like, oh, word, you're a shitty fucking friend. And she's like, look, I don't want to be your friend if you're going to be like that. And this is where Whitney, bob in tow, sets the tears.
She gets up and walks away.
She does, and she
She
cries.
finds a closet. Not a bedroom, but a closet to
A
sit in. It looks like a
mm-hmm.
laundry room or something.
Yeah, I was like, that of all rooms?
What did she say she didn't regret?
Telling Jen what Demi had said about like the
Oh,
two
yeah, that's really fucked
Mormon.
up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so Demi says if she's gonna dish shit, she needs to be able to take it and calls her a little twat. And I'm like, that's twat. You don't hear that one often.
Mm-mm.
But Macy and Jen are like, we have to comfort her. Where's
Hmm.
Whitney? And then Whitney's like, Demi's like, Whitney changes how she talks all the time and her persona all the time. And she's fucking weird. Like, who is Whitney? And Whitney's like, I feel like such a pussy crying. Like, I can't do this. And it's like, well, then stop crying and be about all the shit you talk.
Really? For real?
And this is where Demi's like, she's crying. Anyways, what the fuck are you crying for, bitch? She like walks up on her,
She walks to the closet and is like, stop. What do you have to cry about?
cut the tears, dead ass. And Jen's like, I think Whitney just needs a moment. And Macy's like, you're being a bitch. And Demi's like, no, fuck y'all. Last night was crazy and no one had my back. But now
Hmm.
we have this minion fest trying to protect Whitney because she's unstable and da 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 da. But no one had my back last night.
Which is
And I'm
valid,
like,
which is 100% valid. Granted, you didn't go to a closet and cry, so we could see what would happen if you did that, but she's right. That didn't happen for
yeah.
her.
Demi, you owned what she said and confronted like three people, whereas
Hmm.
Whitney is being mildly confronted by someone and cries.
Hmm.
But Jesse chimes in and says Whitney changes who she's close with all the time. And she doesn't like how mean she's been about Taylor behind her back. And she says she gets close to people until she gets what she wants.
Hmm.
And I'm like, interesting. I wonder if maybe she had gotten close to others before like the show
Yeah.
started and all that.
Yeah.
And Taylor, she's good. And she's like, look, maybe we can't be best friends, but I can try to be a friend.
Hmm.
And this is where Whitney in her confessional, she's like, look, I told Jen what Demi said because I wanted her to know she's being two-faced, but I don't know if it was the right thing or the wrong thing to do. I just don't know. Like, I just don't know what's happening. And it's like, you were being messy. Just be
You
honest.
were. You were.
And you're the most two-faced.
This whole thing has so many layers to it because, like, I feel like Taylor and Whitney were having a fine conversation, right?
Hmm.
But the problem with it, like Demi said, is she wasn't being honest. Like,
Mm.
okay, maybe that's the root of everything, but like, you've been talking a lot of shit about Taylor, saying a lot of things about Taylor, saying that Taylor destroyed mom talk and all of this other stuff, and you don't want to be around her and you don't want to do this. But when you're in front of her, you're just like very calmly, like, well, I'm just sad that you didn't support me about that, which is fine. But then it's like, I feel like you have to own the other things that you did, which is what Demi was trying to get her to do. Then I feel like as soon as Demi enters the room, Whitney is like in this self-deprecating, everybody's against me mode from jump. She's like,
Yeah.
nobody supported me. And she's like, I feel like I supported you. And Taylor's like, well, how can we fix this? And she's like, we can't. And it's like, bitch, what? What do you mean? She's like, no, I don't want it to be fixed. And it's like, yes, you do. So I don't know. She started like, as soon as Demi came in, she started shutting down and being like really weird and like wouldn't talk. And I felt like it's because she knew Demi was gonna like hold her accountable.
Right. She knew Demi sees right through her,
Hmm.
whereas Taylor's maybe perceived as a little more weaker in a sense.
Well, I just don't think Taylor has the information to know what to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's taking everything she says at face value, where Demi's like, bitch, I have your number and I will dial it.
You're right, right.
Like, so, and I mean, one thing a mean girl doesn't like also is being called out on her shit
Hmm.
and like not knowing what to say after.
And then she doubles down. She's like, "Yeah, I don't care that I told Jen and it hurt your feelings." She's like, "Well, then you're a bad friend." She's like, "Okay, I don't want to be your friend."
Well, I'm
But
gonna
then she goes
leave.
into a closet and cries, and it's like, "Girl, what?" And I feel like she's crying for attention. Like she wants
Yeah,
to be the victim so bad. She just wants to be the victim. She
she
doesn't want to own
does.
anything. She just wants people to feel bad for her. Feel bad for her and her baby in the incubator. Feel bad for her in this moment. Oh, Demi's being mean to me. When Demi is right, like yesterday she had to confront like three different things that she'd said, and she did.
Yeah.
But you can't do the same.
You can't confront anything. You're just making like excuses and not
Yeah,
owning it.
yeah.
Mm,
She can dish it out and she can't take it. I think that's what Demi was saying. Like
right. But
going into the closet to yell is kind of crazy though. I was like,
that was funny.
this
She's
is
like,
this
she's
is
crying
rough.
in there. Let me go. Bitch, why are you crying?
And Jen's like, "Can you give us space?" And she's like,
No.
"No."
I won't. Actually, I won't.
No space for you.
That was too much. Um, but Michaela's like, isn't dinner at 6? Can we go?
I love how it's like into everybody's fighting. People are crying. Guys, we have to go eat at
We
6.
have
Like,
reservations at this weird restaurant.
hmm.
Whitney admits to Macy that Taylor was right and she does really care. because she's like crying to her. Macy's like holding her in like the bed. And
So
she's,
dramatic,
I know.
man.
And Macy's like, you do care. And she's like, you're right. I do care. Um, but now she doesn't want to be friends with anyone because of what Jesse said about her getting close to people. And it's
Hmm.
like, maybe just have some introspection as to why that was said.
Right.
Um, but they go to dinner and Whitney is wearing a sheer pilgrim outfit.
Brandon, did you see her pilgrim pajamas? I meant to mention that earlier.
I don't think so.
Or not, it was when was it? When was it? I think the first night when they got out of the hot tub, they were all like in pajamas and she was wearing some like frilly pilgrimy looking pajamas.
She loves the colonial fit.
She does with a nice like bib.
Yes. She's like a nice lace bib that has a Whitney. I
She's like, all
can't.
of my clothes are Mormon original inspired.
Right.
Mormon originals.
She's like, I'm the good Mormon, and these other bitches are fake. But Whitney's like silently crying at the table because she feels lonely. She ends up leaving to cry to a producer for a little bit.
Was
And
like, how do
Demi,
you feel alone? Like four people came to your defense.
right, that part. It's just like Demi's having a good time, which I think is what she really doesn't like.
She's like, everybody's acting normal and nobody's like paying attention to me and how I was hurt today anymore.
Right? Like, what the fuck is happening? This is about me. But Demi says she needs to feel the sting, so she knows not to do this to anyone anymore.
Hmm.
And then this is where Whitney returns with a birthday cake and toilet paper stuck on her shoe.
I was like, damn, that's embarrassing. Not them
Right.
zooming in on it.
They did. I was like, oh. But she tells us she knows she wasn't wrong. And if this is what mom talk has turned into, she doesn't want to do it anymore. If we're going to talk shit, we talk shit behind each other's backs, not to each other's
Hmm.
faces.
Hmm. If in mom talk we're gonna like have to like, admit to doing things and hold each other accountable, I'm not here for
I don't like that.
it.
But then the mid-season trailer comes on and it looks crazy. A lot was happening.
Yeah, there was a lot of different things. I really couldn't catch what all was happening.
No, I think they go to Vegas at one point.
Oh yeah, Layla danced with the stripper and then like Jen is like I think Jen gets in trouble for going.
Yes.
But her husband wanted to gamble. Yeah, they went together. It looks like they're getting an argument about something.
Yeah. But this show's really picking up, I will say.
Yeah.
This episode turned a little into Bad Girls Club, but you know what? I like Bad Girls Club.
Hmm.
Um, and then the next episodes look crazy, so I'm looking forward to continuing this journey.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, y'all, I think that's it for today's episode. Thank
Hmm.
y'all so much for listening. Make sure to rate and review us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We love reviews. We love seeing the written word of how amazing we are.
Yes.
If you want to see our beautiful faces instead of just hearing our voices, you can follow us on YouTube at the Shade of It All Podcast. You can also follow us on TikTok at the Shade of It All Podcast, Instagram at the Shade of It All Pod, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.